Thank you. Thank you and welcome
City Council. This is the final budget workshop, number 4, focused on economic development and sustainability. And then we will save a good portion of the workshop to wrap up and talk about next steps. I'm going to quickly turn it over to Mayor to see if she has any opening words.
Thank you, Tanya, and thank you, Council President Beggs and council members, and also to the public who might be watching this as well. I hope that council and everyone involved has found these workshops valuable. I know the administration has, so I believe it was a council member suggestion that we do this, and I hope everyone is getting the information that they need. I know in some of the earlier workshops when we didn't have all of cabinet involved, there were questions that came through, and we are working to get those questions answered, and we'll have those questions even allowed or available to the public, the questions and the answers that we provided, so that if the public has been watching these workshops, then they can get the answers right along with our council members. So as Tanya said, today is the final one on economic development and sustainability focus. And then look forward to, at the very end of this workshop, talking about next steps. So, and I think the public would like to know that as well. So I'm going to toss it back to Tanya.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the agenda. So we are going to focus with Public Works. You're going to hear a little bit about their resources, and Marlene is going to talk about what their work plan is for 2022. We're going to talk about the Clean Abatement Team, 311 My Spokane. And then these were the 2, Parks and Library, that was deferred from last session on quality of life, but we're going to wrap up with our quality of life in our libraries and our parks. And then we're going to conclude with the ARPA proposals. Again, council, these are only for context as the whole of the budget, and we will be making submissions according to the process that you have outlined. And then we will wrap up. Thank you. So let's get started, and I'm going to turn it over to Paul to kind of give a high-level overview of finances.
Thank you, Tanya. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council President, Council members, and members of the Mayor's Cabinet. As Tanya mentioned, so the funding sources we looked at for this selection of departments today are the Public Works funds. That includes water, wastewater, solid waste, streets, operating and capital, engineering, integrated capital management, utility building, and environmental programs. So this slide shows the breakdown of the revenue for that group that I just mentioned. It's approximately $341 million for the 2022 preliminary / proposed budget. You can see 70% of that is under the utilities and environment. That's the ratepayers, the money that comes in from the customers, with an additional 11% from interfund sales and service charges of approximately $24 million. And that's the amounts paid by the city for the utilities as well. And this final slide on the financials shows how that money is allocated, approximately $386 million, which, if you notice from the slide prior, is more than the revenue coming in. And that's made up of retained earnings for some of those capital projects and operations for those utilities. The largest one is actually integrated capital management of that group, about $94 million of that $386 million. And I will turn it back over to Tanya.
And council, this is just a slide here to transition us into economic development, sustainability, and looking at some of the key priorities that you can see in your workbook that start on page 17. Certainly to plan for our infrastructure. Infrastructure is critical to future economic development. So that was a key component of this budget and the capital improvement plan, which is under review now. Also to enhance the public works operations as we continue to grow. And Marlene's going to talk a little bit about some of the conservation efforts that she has planned out. And then certainly enhance cleanup efforts for a clean, safe, and welcoming environment. We want to thank you, Council, first for the unappropriated general fund allocation that you made in 2021 to get started with a new cleanup team. So you do see it proposed here as a priority for 2022 as well. And then enhanced 311 services. Carly is going to talk a little bit about this and how those services are coming along, and the demand for those services continues to increase. And then certainly libraries and parks. Our library director will talk a little bit about the new libraries coming online and how he plans to provide equitable access to those libraries. And then we're going to close on ARPA proposals that further all of our city priorities and meet our service expectations. And again, Council, we've certainly heard you very clearly about the separate process, and that is our full intent to take these through that process. But we do want to give it with the context of all of the funding and all of the operations and priorities of the city going forward. So starting out with Public Works, I'm going to turn it over to Marlene Feist.
Good morning, Council and Mayor. Thank you for letting me join you this morning. So just a quick overview, Paul kind of hit this, but when I tell the public what Public Works is, I usually say water, sewer, garbage, and streets. And then the services that support those, like engineering and integrated capital management and utility billing and environmental programs. So our work is diverse. And covers many critical services. Just, this picture page alone shows you some of the diversity we have in this division. Everything from the upriver dam to the next level of treatment, to waste to energy, to really basic services in the right of way, like snow removal or garbage pickup. These are the things that keep the city running. In some ways, they're the services that probably are essential for life that people don't really think about. They don't think when they turn on the tap that there shouldn't be water, and that's a good thing. We want them to expect our city to deliver these things on a regular basis without a lot of drama. Next slide. So obviously the four top components are the mayor's priorities of housing, homelessness, public safety, and economic development. Public Works is really in a supporting role for most of these kinds of things. We try to support housing, for example, through affordability for our customers and predictability of what those bills might look like. Those things also can help with economic development. We every day have a lens of providing environmentally and financially responsible actions on behalf of our city. Again, those things are how we keep those rates affordable for our customers. We want high quality responsive services for citizens. We don't want them to be without water. We don't want them to worry that the wastewater won't be taken away and that their streets will be cleared when they need to go to work or school. We're continuing to, of course, to invest in our community and its infrastructure as we rebuild roads, as we add new sewer and water infrastructure, those things to support housing growth and economic development. And finally, of course, we want those efficient and effective operations. Paul, do you want to switch or? So apparently I didn't true up my budget with Paul, but we have 760 FTEs in Public Works. Our budget is in the $350 million range for 2022. That number goes up and down depending on the amount of capital projects we have out in the field each year. Last fall, council approved and the mayor recommended rate increases of 2.9% for 2021, 2022, and 2023. So just remember that that's already been approved and is included in your budget, is that 2.9% increase in utility rates. That's a number that we've been able to support over the last 10 years or so. So we do have that predictability for our customers, and we'll be sending, of course, more information out to them on what their rates will look like for the coming year. And just a reminder that our outstanding bill delinquencies due to the pandemic now total about $6.6 million. So traditionally we have had delinquencies that would kind of a rolling average of delinquencies of around $700,000 a year. So you can see that this is considerably more than what we typically would see at a point in time.
And Marlene, this is Brian. Does that number include just the unpaid bills, or does that include interest and fines and things like that?
Right. So interest and fines were suspended during the pandemic period. So this is just the cost of the services themselves. So interest and penalties we suspended those and they have not been accruing for our customers.
And then secondly, going to the top of this slide on your FTEs, when we look through the list of 200 some odd vacancies in the city,
Yes.
there were quite a few of them that were in public works, and there were quite a few that seem to have been vacant for years. And so I'm just wondering what process you have for kind of going through and just saying, you know what, let's take it out, because it kind of skews the budget to just leave, because they're in the budget, it just kind of skews
Right.
it. So I'm wondering what your process is for reviewing those vacancies.
Yeah, so we did have some vacancies that we left open in the pandemic period, as you know, Council President. We also had some longstanding vacancies in the solid waste collections area. We actually are now filling everything we've got in solid waste collections because of the turnover we're seeing. So what we want to do is have those positions available to us so that we can try to get a stable workforce in at solid waste collections. We also had some vacancies that we're filling. It was over the course of the last year or so in at the water reclamation facility. So really to run NLT, we intended to have those come in over time rather than having them all come in January. It was a full year to year and a half of hiring process so that we could sort of ease into all those additional positions to run that new major treatment operation. So we've gotten the go-ahead from the administration to fill as many of these positions as we can. But you're right, at the end, when we sort of get to the point where we believe we're staffed up, we certainly could look at those for removal of some positions.
Thanks.
Marlene, can you go back? So 2 questions, those outstanding bill delinquencies, 6.6, just a rough guesstimate. How many households do you think that is?
This amounts to about 7,700 accounts. So about a little over a tenth of our customer base.
Okay,
The bulk of the delinquency amounts, Councilmember Kinnear, are among residential customers. Commercial is actually a pretty small, relatively small number of the amount of delinquency.
okay,
And the neighborhood of 1,400 of those customers have essentially missed every bill since the pandemic started. We're at the point where those customers owe us, between $2,000 and $3,000 a piece.
oh goodness, okay. So, and my other question is, and I'm gonna ask Karen, Councilmember Stratton, to help me out with this memory, because I remember when we hired a company to actually go after delinquent bills, and our rate of collection was much higher than having employees do it. And Councilmember Stratton, do you remember that or when that was? But I have a vivid memory of that.
Yeah, and Councilmember Mumm worked on it. I think it was a couple years ago.
I think it was at least 4 or 5.
You
Well, I know
think?
Marlene remembers it. We had delinquencies that went back 20 years.
Yeah, but we hired a company and it was quite effective. And so I'm wondering if that is something we would like to consider again. They are
Right.
more motivated to collect than employees would be.
Yeah, so Councilwoman Kinnear, you're right. We actually have 2 contracts for collection agencies. We have not been using them in the last, during the pandemic period because we had to follow the statewide moratorium on that. So they are ready to go as soon as we give them a go ahead. Clearly the council and the mayor provided some grace for our customers. They have until the end of March 2022 to get caught up or to enter into payment arrangements with us. Since your action a couple of weeks ago, we have seen hundreds of applications come in for payment arrangements. So they are starting to understand that the grace period is coming to an end. We also, though, have customers clearly who are low income, who we're trying to get them connected with available resources.
Guys, just to
So,
chime
Marlene?
in, the rental assistance, the $25 million we're trying to distribute, that is eligible to be used to pay these
Right. Rental assistance is available, Council President, and we've promoted that. Our challenge is that more than half of the residential amount is appears to be owner occupied, so homeowners, so they do not qualify for rental assistance. And then another subset of those who are rental properties, the landlord pays the city utility bill. It's very different than Avista bills or energy bills, where the renter typically is the payer. In the case of rentals for our bills, they often are included in the rent, which means that they too cannot use the rental assistance dollars to pay those bills. So that's where we're running into some challenge. We've only seen a little over $100,000 come into us from TRAP funds as a result.
Thanks.
Hey, Marlene, really quickly, but we will have a plan for those families and individuals that really can't bounce back and pay these huge utility bills that they haven't been able to pay since COVID.
Right. So there's a couple things coming our way, Council Member Stratton. One is Congress created an assistance program for the pandemic for water wastewater bills. It's similar to LIHEAP, which is the project share type funding. They put in about $1.4 billion nationwide into, I can't really pronounce the acronym, but I'm going to tell you it's like LIHWAP. It's LIHWAP. And so Department of Commerce has gotten funding through that, and SNAP will be their distributor of those funds. It reaches people, the income limit on that is 150% of the federal poverty level, which, as you know, is quite low. And it only is good for water wastewater bills, so it does not hit all of our lines of business like garbage. So Public Works would recommend adding some additional potentially ARP dollars to raise the income limit a little bit, perhaps to 200% of the federal poverty level, and to add that garbage component so that they can get help with that portion of their bill.
Marlene, I got a question from Councilmember Cathcart. He's not able to speak up. So his question is, are we looking at waiving a portion of these bills that are behind using ARP where rental assistance doesn't work?
Right. So that's just what I was speaking to, Councilmember Wilkerson. So that would certainly be something that I would request that the mayor and council look at, is using some ARP dollars to basically supplement the other funding that's available for customers to get, consider getting assistance. We've already talked to SNAP. They could add that. They're already going to do the income verification for the federal program that's coming down. So we could probably piggyback off of that and get a pretty decent overhead rate to deal with that.
Council President? I had a quick question for you,
Go
Marlene.
ahead.
Thank you. I definitely could take a look at the ARPA dollars. However, it seems to me from a fiscal prudence perspective, we should ask the folks for the money first and, work through the collections. And then at the very end, the uncollectibles would maybe be the approach once we get there, because it seems like we have a few steps to take first to get the cash in.
Right. And really what we're talking about in terms of support, Councilmember Mumm, is for those who would meet those low level of income requirements. So it wouldn't be available to all of our customers. So that's why we have the payment arrangement availability, and that we're working with them and sending them letters and asking them to get caught up on their payments. So certainly we would expect customers who could afford to pay to provide us with that assistance, because those funding sources that we're talking about here would be limited by income. Okay, no more questions there. Paul, could you go to the next slide, or if it's Jacob? So we're going to talk about a couple of things that are included in the mayor's budget specifically, but I just wanted to kind of go over, really where we're looking at in terms of our priority actions for 2022 in Public Works. So Unlike some businesses in some areas, like in City Hall, our essential workers in Public Works have come to work every day. As the pandemic continues, we want to continue to support those employees. We're also going to be finalizing power purchase agreements with Avista for Upriver Dam and Waste to Energy. We're going to deliver on those capital projects for utilities and streets, and we'll be coming forward in the next couple of months with our plans for capital work in 2022. Obviously, the bridge that I'm looking at right outside my window is going to be a major part of that work in the next year. We're going to go live with our new utility billing system. We're a little behind on this project, but we are hopeful that we will get it done in the first quarter of 2022. I likely will have to come forward with one more change order on that project. And of course, a major priority for 2022 and the rest of this year is to assist our customers with getting caught up on their city utility bills. And we were supporting clean and safe initiatives citywide. On the water side, we're going to continue to build on those water conservation efforts and proceed with long-range planning around the water system. I'm sure that some of you are getting emails, requests to participate in some of the work that we hired GHD to do around that water system planning. In wastewater, we're going to finish commissioning of the next level of treatment and start to evaluate those results. Before next level of treatment, we were discharging approximately 70 pounds of phosphorus per day from the plant. Our current numbers are between 2 and 3 pounds. So we have to look at all of the suite of pollutants, of course, but that phosphorus number that was really the impetus for creating next level of treatment is seeing dramatic results. We saw algae blooms throughout the community in many lakes as a result of the hot summer. We did not see those on Lake Spokane, and I think that is due in large part to us running NLT for most of the summer. On the solid waste side, we're continuing to seek new uses for waste streams and recycled materials, and we'll be bringing more information forward next year on that. And we're going to support, excuse me, a robust neighborhood cleanup program following 2 years of COVID. I know that many of you have heard from your neighborhoods and they were disappointed by the cleanups we've been able to offer in the last 2 years. So we're hoping to really get back on track and get that cleanup program up and running again for next year. And then in streets, of course, we're going to continue our investment in the transportation system for all modes of travel and support our continuous improvement for maintenance service around snow, leaves, sweeping, and pavement repair. Next slide. So these were a couple of highlights that we wanted to provide to you. We are looking at adding one strategic planning, infrastructure planning position, high-level position to the division. When I took this job, I lost me. So I need some high-level support around special projects and initiatives. We do have Kirsten Davis will be shared between us and Steve's economic development division. So we have that as a half-time position, and we really do need special project support and infrastructure planning support. So this is our proposal around that. And it'll certainly support.
Would that be billed to utility funds or general fund?
It would be to utility funds. Yeah, it would come out of it would be placed in our public works. Oh, no, actually it goes into ICM. So it's out of utility dollars would be paid for it. So certainly supporting things around water conservation, water planning, investments in the transportation system, and more.
Marlene, can
Yes.
I ask you about water conservation and the water in general? Because I've heard that the water department seems to be underfunded. You have a surplus every year, but it generally seems to be underfunded. But the larger piece is we have to keep up with demand, and the water conservation effort, at some point, we're going to have to step it up a bit so that people are more aware and really taking this seriously. But more importantly, I think we need to work with parks to, and they've done a great job so far, but we have work to go to get parks really.
Yes.
I'm going to just say, Cannon Hill Park leaks like a sieve, that pond. And so that is water that's just literally going down the drain. I'd like to
Yes.
see us working very closely with parks, each park, to find out ways that we can reduce water. And, you know, emerald green lawn is not necessarily the best thing for us right now. We need to be a little bit more resourceful and innovative about how our parks are used and what we want them to look like regarding water. So that's my ask, as we work closely with parks on the water piece.
Well, then you're going to be excited about the talk that Garrett and I will have with you on Monday at PIES. We are entering an interdepartmental agreement between Parks and Public Works to continue investing in irrigation upgrades and other water saving projects in the park system. And that also includes parks working with us on how they water and what time of day they water. One, to be an example to the public, but also to help with our water system demands throughout the community. So we had some good success on how and when Qualchan was watering this summer that helped us with water needs in the Eagle Ridge area off of US 195. So we are thinking alike. So we'll be investing some money into their projects. And I know that Garrett is really looking at those manual irrigation systems throughout the city and the smaller parks and throughout the community. So we are on the same page there. The water conservation topic is a big part of the planning work that we're going to be doing as we look at, you know, the next 20-year plan for the water system. And Kara Odegaard and Brian McClatchy provided feedback into the scope of work to include that discussion. So we have connected with that. And I believe Council President and others will be involved in a lot of the MODA development, things like that, to help us get to those goals.
That's super. And then one last thing. Has utilities and parks reached a decision on who's actually maintaining the streetscape, the boulevards, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so we actually met on this week, Councilmember Kinnear, and we still believe that Parks is a better green space maintainer than the water department is. So we're moving forward with that. I think we're going to step into it in 2022 and really get going on that and seeing that we can raise the level of service in some of those green areas and figure out how we do that going forward. That's affordable, really, for the community.
Marlene, I guess for me, kind of what's most important is more on the cleanup side and a little bit of what you just touched on with the boulevards and maintaining some of those public rights of way areas. And I think next year, I guess I would love to see us really do an emphasis on cleanup on steroids. I mean, I think coming out of the pandemic, I think cleaning up, people have been kind of trapped in their homes or maybe not, you know, doing what they've been doing in the past. And so any effort we can do to really boost cleanup efforts, I think would be really important. I was at the Shiloh Hills neighborhood last night, and there were some neighbors there who were absolutely aghast that if they wanted to organize as volunteers and clean up, where they are really frustrated at how bad things are getting, and they wanted to organize and clean up on their own, and they were told that they would have to pay to dump all of that waste. And it's kind of silly that that's the case. But I just think that we should be really emphasizing not just dump passes and things like that, but a real robust cleanup that would be citywide, focusing on, you know, single site collection, curbside collection, large appliance collection, large furniture collection. I mean, all of that kind of stuff, and really get our neighborhoods in a much better state, which is going to be uplifting for everybody.
I think we agree with you, Councilmember Cathcart. Disposal passes are probably our least effective way to get garbage out of neighborhoods. So we want to return to those in-person cleanups as much as we can to next year. So, and we'll certainly work with all the neighborhoods to develop which kind of cleanup makes sense for their neighborhood. But we do like the extra curbside pickup is a great way to get rid of lots of stuff. The white goods that you talk about, or the larger pieces too, we can work on those things if that's the need in that neighborhood, and we try to look at the needs per neighborhood. But we are somewhat limited in our staffing, but I think that, you know, if a neighborhood wanted to clean it up, and we could probably definitely work with them on disposal fees if they, you know, so let's not forget all those things. And I know that we're going to get together with neighborhoods and figure out how to get that planning going so we can offer greater levels of service in 2022.
So related to that, just real quick question. So I've suggested using some ARP funds if it applies to expand our cleanup efforts. But I know last year when we looked at our fee increases for waste, we added that I don't know if it's $1 or $2 when you actually go to the waste energy and dump your stuff. And we were told, and the only reason I voted for it was we were told that it would raise about $250,000 that would be used for neighborhood cleanup. And so is all of that $250,000 allocated to neighborhood cleanup in your budget?
So, yeah, so I think it was a little bit broader than just neighborhood cleanup, including the litter and disposal that are being cleaned up out of illegal camping. So our cleanup budget for those lines has increased for 2022 to 1.5 million from 1.2 million the year before, and that's more than double than it was 5 years ago. So we are continuing to invest in all of those activities between the neighborhood cleanups, the litter control, illegal dumping, and encampment cleanup.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then this is just a quick look at a couple of additional positions that we're adding in the operations. So 3 in water and 4 in water and 1 in streets. There, Councilmember Kinnear, that first one is a water efficiency specialist to help continue to grow the WaterWise program. And then we have some other things that we need to happen. A mechanic. We've added a couple of pump stations, and so we need a new mechanic to spread out across those larger water systems. And then we're going to add a new GIS tech, and we're going to have that person assist with increased data needs. We really do want to see the AMI, the new AMI that we talked about, a couple different versions of AMI that we have out there, but the new AMI added to a GIS layer so that we can start using that to help us get at water savings from a technical standpoint. And we have a new water inspector that we're going to be adding to assist with growth-related work.
Can you
finally,
remind us what AMI stands for?
Automated meter. Well, it's AMR AMI. So the R I know is reading. I is, you'll have to forgive me. But anyway, it's the smart meter system. We are updating that as we go. We have a lot of smart meters out there, but they're no longer smart. So we're starting basically over with a new version of smart meters. We're starting with those business customers first, I think, as we told you, Council President, so that we could even start with some water saving programs just for those commercial customers. So, that as much as we can get information and have it integrate in with other things like GIS, we'll be able to use those more effectively. And then finally, just a concrete finisher in streets, which is about, making sure that we have those maintenance activities on par. So these are just a few little things that we're adding to the budget. Clearly, our operations are much larger than this, but we are focused on delivering better results and greater results for our community as always. Oh, and Kristen Zimmer says advanced metering infrastructure is the I. So there we go. And I think that's the last of my slides.
Didn't know if you saw my text.
Mayor, what was your text?
Okay, well, no, I'm calling you now. Just my text was to call you off camera during this meeting.
Mayor, you're
Mayor?
on us. There she goes.
Okay, City Council, moving on. Chris Becker is going to talk a little bit about the continuation of our additional cleanup efforts.
Thank you, Tanya, and good morning, Council. As Tanya mentioned earlier, we had a special budget ordinance earlier this year where we added funds for 10 temp seasonal employees to expand our services for cleanup throughout our city. And so that has been ongoing for the last several months. When at the time I brought that SBO forward to you, I committed to bringing it back for conversation to determine if we wanted to make these positions permanent, which is the proposal that you see before you now. So this is 10 positions. It's 8 laborers. Those will be split into 4 crews to provide service citywide. So we'll have dedicated resources for graffiti, dedicated resources downtown, resources that will accompany the homeless outreach team. And then we have the litter control crew, which speaks to some of what you were speaking to, Councilmember Cathcart. That is in all of our neighborhoods. That is picking up some of those illegal dumps, checking hotspots, proactively patrolling throughout our neighborhoods to get those cleaned up. We will add an additional 4-person because we have expanded our hours of service to include weekends. And then we will have a program professional that will kind of help us run that program, but also manage communication and contacts and coordinating with some of our partner agencies and volunteer organizations. So like I said, this allows us to have those dedicated resources in each of those areas and to continue that expanded service, including the weekends.
Hey, Chris.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councilmember.
Sorry, I was just going to ask if you're, I know we've had trouble filling these positions just with the labor shortages and issues. And so I'm just wondering what you guys are doing to make sure that we can actually get these positions filled.
So we continue to interview. I think part of our challenge is these were temp seasonal positions, and so they don't have benefits, and there's a lot of competition for those laborer type positions. We do have a laborer lists with civil service right now, and so there are people on the list who are looking for a permanent position.
Chris,
Mhm.
DSP will also be increasing their staff to do litter control, and their clean team is going to be larger than it was prior, not by much, but I'm wondering how you're going to be working with them, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And are you going to be able to look at if that is maybe too many people, or so that you reduce staff? I mean, how are you going to evaluate that?
So they are a great partner, and we coordinate with them every week. We play a little bit different roles. They do the sanitization. They have the gator, and they come through. We'll come through and pick the litter, and then they come through and they'll do the sanitization. In addition, they also do other litter picking. But we partner with them on the viaducts. So we will definitely divide and conquer the work in the downtown with them. I don't anticipate that we would have too many resources in the downtown, but one great thing about our supervisors in code enforcement is they are able to shift the resources as needed in order to respond. Sometimes we'll have something we'll need to address downtown. Sometimes we'll have something in the neighborhoods, and we're able to shift those resources.
So Chris, that's here. So in the mayor's proposal for the enhanced cleanup, that 10 full-time FTEs, the majority of that budget is from ARPA as the proposal. So that's one-time money. What would be the sustainability of these employees after the one-time money is spent? So where would that come from? And why wouldn't we start with that embedded in the budget instead of ARPA funding?
I'm going to defer to our CFO if she or our budget director. I think that's a great question. Historically, solid waste has funded the majority of this program. And I think, Tanya, if you could jump in.
Yes, I can, Chris. Excellent question. And I'm glad you picked that up, Councilmember Wilkerson. This total cost, if I'm recalling correctly, is about $1 million, and we do have it split. Graffiti is not covered. The graffiti cost team is not covered by solid waste. The rest of the cleanup and litter is covered by solid waste. However, this came a little late in the process, and we need to give solid waste a little bit of time to absorb this cost. And that's what 2022 is intended to do. So the ARPA proposal is just bridge funding so that the solid waste fund can get on more solid footing and then can absorb this cost. You heard Marlene Feist talk about the revenue delinquency, and we're putting plans together to get that caught up to the best of our ability, and we'll be working on more plans to enhance that. But that's what the one-time ARPA funding proposal is shaping up to be, and why it's only suggested to be bridge funding. And there is a longer-term plan. We just need to get the solid waste fund a little more recovered, which is also the intent of ARPA, is to help replace some of those lost revenues and get us stabilized as well. Does that answer the question?
It does, and then all the positions in these departments are filled. Once again, there was a significant number of positions unfilled. And if they were all full, would that meet the needs that are being presented here today?
There's existing positions in code enforcement that were filled. We are actively filling all of our positions. We've had some turnover. And we had 3 that were added in the 2021 budget that we have filled.
Thank you.
Brian here, quick question. The graffiti, as you mentioned, was the general fund dollars. Earlier this year, we had a proposal from the COPS organization to provide the same service at quite a much lower cost for 2 people. And I'm just wondering if the administration has looked into simply amending their contract, getting the same service for less money.
I didn't see that proposal. I'd have to defer to Tanya or.
I'm unaware of that proposal as well.
Council
All right.
President, I think those 2 positions were the victim advocates. Is that what we're?
No, they have both. They have proposals for both victim advocates and graffiti. So we can resurrect those, get those in front of people, because my recollection was it was a lot cheaper. So.
This is Councilmember Mum. I have a quick question, and I apologize. The way this is set up, it says go to page 17, and I can't flip back and forth. So this whole piece here is $1 million.
Yes.
Okay. So are you anticipating that it would only be for 1 year? In terms of the need for ARPA?
The proposal is for permanent positions. The funding would be permanent from the general fund for the graffiti cost, and then ARPA would only be temporary one-time bridge funding through 2022, and thereafter would be absorbed by the solid waste fund.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, we will move on. Carly Courtright is going to talk a little bit about My Spokane. Carly?
Thank you, Tanya. Good morning, Council. Thanks for having me today. So we are having a request to add 2 FTEs to My Spokane 311. We're coming up on our 5-year anniversary. We'll have been live since February of 2017, and our entire time that we have been in existence, we have kind of struggled with staffing. The last time we added staff was back in 2018. And one challenge that we continue to have is the frequent turnover in our staff. I'm sure you probably heard the same thing regarding the challenge that police records has in retaining their specialists, largely because of the shift work involved with that. We have similar issues in 311. It's a difficult job, and there's so many wonderful opportunities in the city that fortunately we usually lose them to other opportunities within the city through transfers. But what it does impact has on our existing staff is we have to restrict vacation time off so we can maintain minimum staffing. It impacts overtime. We've this year exceeded our overtime budget, trying to make sure that we have that minimum staffing to be able to handle the calls coming in. That creates a lot of additional pressure and stress on employees, which is another reason why we lose them to other departments. So we're really trying to, work on that work-life balance for our staff. So it's a great place for them to work. We, for the most part, have really wonderful customers. We enjoy helping them. They usually give us really great feedback on our surveys, which I'd be happy to share with you if you wanted to see them. We get really high rates for friendliness, resolving of issues. The most common feedback I see on our surveys is those long wait times, that they had to wait on hold for a long time to reach an agent. So you can see from our statistics here that our goals have been to answer 90% of our calls within 60 seconds, and then have a 95 answer rate, which means, 95% answer rate, which means 95% of our calls coming in are answered. Typically, when we look at that abandon rate of 5%, those are abandoned in the first 15 seconds of the phone call. That seems to be, robo-dials or things like that. So there's not a lot we can do to control that. That's why we have that 95% goal. As has come up throughout this presentation, recruiting people is a challenge. Staffing levels in other departments has certainly impacted our call volume into 311 as other departments have staffing challenges and aren't able to respond as quickly to requests submitted to them. Those customers call us back and ask for information. So that's a call driver for us. Another issue that we just recently became aware of is a change to the cash handling policy at the city to add some additional dual controls, which are important, but that's going to add impact on our staff as well, since we also have our front counter, and that's going to, again, add a little bit more time crunch on staff and supervisors to be able to do that dual control process. So at the end of the day, we're doing the best we can, but we really do have a challenge with trying to maintain staffing, obviously staffing across the country, trying to recruit. Our last vacancy that we've been filling, we just have a new employee in training, took multiple times to get even an interview scheduled. We went through several names on the list because it's over a year old now. All of those things kind of add up to it. We've had a vacancy now in my Spokane since September of 2019 is the last time we had every single one of our positions filled. It seems like we no longer get someone in and then we lose someone else. And that's really, like I said, just creating a problem for staffing, morale, as well as that impact to our customers. So those are the reasons that we are requesting adding those 2 FTEs to be able to keep up with that. Largely, I'll be honest, we fully expect that probably at least one of those positions will continue to remain vacant, but at least it gives us an opportunity to get people into the training pipeline, get them up and going, and not have those impacts to staff that they have to work overtime while we have that hiring and training process going on.
Hey, Carly.
Yes.
Question for you. Well, comment and question. So again, last night at the neighborhood meeting I was at, there were a couple of folks who were really concerned about, they had tried to call 311 a number of times and just literally never reached anybody. They said it just rang and rang and they never got a hold of a live person. So I certainly think, figuring out a way to make sure that we have the capacity to handle all those calls is really important. And if this is the best way, then I guess so be it. But what I'm wondering is, have we thought about, something outside the box, outsourcing to a firm that really specializes on, inbound calling and see if we can't get some more consistency and do things that way? I spent a very brief summer doing that, and it does work really well, and you can train people to the exact standards that you want, and you have a lot more consistency, I guess, in how things are handled. And just an outside the box thought that I thought I would just ask if that's been considered.
A great question. It has not, I'll be honest, just because of union concerns. I'm more than happy to look into that. I'm sorry to hear that from the neighborhood. We do have improvements we've made over the years. We do have a callback feature, so they shouldn't wait. I mean, there is an opportunity to leave a callback number and receive a callback. We also have, we made upgrades 2 years ago to our software system to really encourage more people to report online, which has been pretty successful. We have seen, a pretty good increase on that. I'm hopeful that, we'll continue to see improvements throughout time with our ability to continue to move people online, but we're just not seeing that right now, and it's sort of just a continual process. I'd be more than happy to look into it. My concern is that union impact of removing jobs.
No, I understand that. And just one real fast follow-up then for the online. I haven't used the online, so I don't know exactly how that works. Is it just a form that people submit, or is it actually like a live kind of text chat where you can interact, whether it's an AI type thing or a person who's on the other end?
We have, great question, both. So we have a mobile site and an app. So it is a form, but I think it's very intuitive, responsive. Use a map to drop a pin, report your issue. And the mobile site sort of mimics what the app looks like. So you don't need to have the app if it's sort of a one-off. And we handle, all, most utility billing requests, solid waste requests, code and parking, streets and park maintenance are all things that you can submit online through that app. We did have a chat function that we really suspended just before COVID. The reality was we found that our agents were having a hard time balancing between doing phone calls and the chat. Mostly, I'm hopeful that we'll have, when the new utility information system goes live next year, that maybe that will reduce that. But we can't look up more than one account at a time. So if you're talking to a customer on the phone, you couldn't then also be chatting with somebody and look up their utility account information. So it was really limiting. We had to move the chat to our front counter folks to be able to do that. And then, we shut down the front counter because of COVID. So it's on my list of bringing chat back once we get to a place with this new employee in training and kind of even some things out. And I've also been in contact with someone to look at doing AI. What can we do that would automate that? A lot of that, about 50% of our phone calls are related to utility billing. So that's another challenge, is getting the new system online first, since it makes no sense to try to program to a legacy system that's about to, be retired.
Right. Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Councilmember Mum.
Yeah, Carly, what percentage would you say the calls are that deal with utilities?
It's about 50%, and that includes solid waste.
And how much does utilities pay to 311?
We're an interfund account, so we bill out our time. I would say it's probably very close to that. I'd have to pull up the exact numbers. We bill out based on number of calls and length of calls. So certain calls take longer to process. Utility billing calls are usually a little bit shorter, so it's not an exact percentage. My memory is that it was 49% for utility billing and about 30% for solid waste for the 2020 allocation.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, with the pandemic, I can imagine there were a lot of calls. And I'm just kind of saying, did we see an anomaly there? Would we think that maybe some of that might go down now?
It's a great question. We actually saw calls go down during the pandemic, at least initially. Very, very interesting. The calls that went up were for solid waste, mostly people adding yard waste. That was, people were home. I think they were like, oh, I can do stuff. And then code enforcement and some parking enforcement calls, because again, I think people were home and, oh, that thing that's been bothering me that I didn't have time, I now see, and I'm taking the time to report. Our utility billing calls actually really dropped. Probably one of our main drivers with utility billing calls is payment arrangements. And with the suspension, at least for last year, people stopped calling because there wasn't any worry about being turned off, and so they weren't calling to make payment arrangements. That has slowly tricked back up. It's getting, increasing regularly. We have worked out a new deal with utility billing that we're no longer making payment arrangements. We instead either refer them to a form to fill out or we fill it on their behalf for long-term payment plans. So that has actually kind of changed our dynamic as well. We are expecting increased call volume with the conversion to the new utility information system next year. There will be changes to, the bill format and account numbers, and that certainly will be a call driver. We were completely unprepared for this year with the recycle changes. That was very challenging for a lot of customers, and solid waste was, still figuring out routes, and that was people upgrading their carts. May was the highest call volume we've ever had as a call center, and that was largely because of those changes. So, all these things kind of come and go and ebb and flow, and we try to adjust. I will say that, frankly, our call volume is down from where we started. We continue to kind of trend downward, but that challenge is keeping that staff, and the calls have changed and become more lengthy because they're no longer as easy to resolve, because usually they're an issue with another department having impacts on their ability to solve the issue. And so they're more escalated phone calls. They're longer, trying to explain why they haven't gotten
Yeah.
the response they needed.
Picking
So
up
our
the
call time
we have a
has
staff
increased.
shortage in other areas. I get it. I get it. I guess my question on the 2 FTEs, are those being charged directly to the department, or, you know, since they're probably to deal with solid waste and, um, utility.
Right.
So,
Because we're an interfund, it would go to, again, every year we look at what that previous call volume was and, divide that out. And so then it gets billed equally to all the departments that we support. So depending, based on our call volume this year, knowing solid waste was up, solid waste is going to receive a higher bill this year than they did last year. Parking enforcement, Chris, is another one that is going to see an increased bill. Our call volume is just up for that this year than it was in previous years. So, that's where these 2 FTEs would go. It would just be spread out over those departments we support.
okay. So just my general comment to the rest of the council, as we hire back the missing people around, maybe the calls would go down because obviously 311 is picking up the slack. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you.
This is Brian. A question. We've talked in the past that we're going to get the capability that if someone calls or emails in about a concern, that they could get essentially a ticket number, and then they would be notified by email as progress is made on whatever the work order is. Where are we on that? Getting that in
That
place?
is live. We do have that. If we have your email and you create a case with us, you do receive updates of when it is resolved. Probably the one challenge that we have right now, which I know is on the list for improvements, we're integrated with Acela, which is the system that code and parking enforcement uses. So we get that a lot with illegal camping is probably the best example I can think of. Is it gets reported, we create a case, especially if it comes in through the app. If an agent gets the call, we'll look at it first and see if it's already been reported, and we won't create a new case. If it was through the app, citizens, there is no duplicate detection in place for that. So they may submit a camp that already exists. It gets transferred over to the Acela software. They receive an email notification with that case number, and then almost immediately they'll get another email saying that it was closed. And that's because it was closed because it was a duplicate. So it's on the list for that enhancement within Acela to make that change, to at least let people know the reason it was closed was because it was a duplicate. But right now, if we have your email address, you should be getting an update from us with a case number.
And I was the other day trying to find on the city website where you would interact electronically with 311. I couldn't find it really. So what's
It is underneath the account. So if you go to your the account head, if you will, there's that landing page. You don't need to log in, so you don't need to have a e-bill account, but it's where the e-bill would be. And within there is a, I can't remember the exact name of it now, but it says, requests for, complaints and something else. So customer service center, and it's right next to the e-bill tile. And also, I think we've got the link to the Parks and Rec software as well. So kind of a landing page for anything customer service related is all on that account page.
okay? Yeah, it didn't jump out at me. So just feedback. So I was like, okay. Maybe we don't have it. And then hopefully last question from me for you. In the current budget, you're tasked with supervising 2 different departments, customer service and Office of Neighborhood Services. And this could be for you or it could be for Tanya, but in the 2022 budget, is that still the same, or is there budget for 2 separate department directors?
My understanding is that we will have the Director of Neighborhood Services, which should be coming before council soon. And then there will be the Customer Experience Director, and we will be going out to recruit that position. So there will be 2 directors, and I will no longer be in charge of both.
Okay, thanks.
Unmute. Okay, moving on. Our esteemed library director, Andrew Chance, is here to talk a little bit about what libraries are going to look like for 2022. Andrew.
Thank you, Tanya. Good morning, Council. Happy to be here this morning. As you are well aware, we are well into our bond implementation program. Earlier this year, we opened up the Hive and the new expanded library for the Hilliard. And in the coming weeks, we'll be opening up the Shadle Park branch as well as the Liberty Park branch. So yeah, thank you, Council Member Mom. We are just so happy to be bringing our library services into the 21st century and providing these expanded opportunities for the public. We'll be finishing up our bond program next year with the opening of the newly renovated Central Library and the renovated South Hill and Indian Trail libraries as well. So lots of moving parts going on for us, lots of expansions in what we're doing. As a result of the bond program, the public is going to see a 52% increase in usable public space, a 34% increase in public computer availability, 470% increase in public meeting rooms, 4 new maker studios, completely upgraded technology and power, which I think is going to drive people more to the facilities for those access and interactive meetings, and 6 new children's spaces that are really decked out. They're going to be very popular with the public. And then couple that with the community, hopefully, coming out of the pandemic and more towards economic recovery, we're going to play an expanded and enhanced role for the public. So we're proposing expanding hours at our facilities. All of our libraries, if this is approved, would be open 7 days a week, 4 evenings every week, and 1 hour earlier during the week. It's a 25% increase in our operating hours. In order to do this, the mayor, and in accordance with RCW 2712, the Library Board of Trustees are asking for an additional $325,000 for 2022 to deliver this more equitable access to our community. The ask really entails frontline staff. So it's 7.17 FTE. 4.67 of those positions would be clerical, 2.5 in facilities for expanded need to keep our facilities, our bigger facilities clean, security, and utilities. Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering how is the 325,000 expanding equity specifically?
Well, it's equitable hours to the community. So right now, when you look at our hours in the past, you've got Indian Trail, Hilliard, and East Side that are open 40 hours a week. No Sundays, no Mondays, and 1 evening during the week. So this expands that to make not only the hours more easy to communicate to the public because you have that consistency, so you're not having to guess when my library is going to be open, but also it's more equitable access to the facilities and the resources that we're providing to the community.
Well, I guess I would think that's not really equity. I guess in my mind, equity would be maybe lower census tracts, lower income census tracts would have added hours or more accessible opportunities. Like we're taking away the library from Northtown, and to me, that would be equity, is maintaining that additional access in these lower income parts of the community. So, I mean, not to say I disagree with the added dollars and keeping all of our libraries open more, but just, I think the proposal to call it equity, I'm not sure is exactly accurate.
Okay, that's fair. Any other questions?
All right, well, moving forward then, thank you, Andrew. We have Parks and Rec, so they're going to give you some highlights of their 2022 budget. And start off with the ARP proposals.
All right. Well, good morning, Mayor and City Council. Thanks again. And again, thank you for all the support the last couple of years during the pandemic. I think one of our biggest priority trends for the way we budget is we learned a lot during the pandemic on how we budget around core services and the known expenses, the known revenues, being able to build on those services. And so that's a good building block for us moving forward. So just to touch on our 2022 budget priorities, the Park Board did pass our proposed budget last week. Then that will be moved forward to the City Council, a part of the entire budget, city budget moving forward in the coming months. And one of the biggest ones that we're looking at is prioritizing and filling the current vacancies that we have. We in Parks and Recreation currently have just about 100 full-time employees. We run about 10 to 13 vacancies. So that's going to be a huge priority for us. A lot of that is around the operations side and maintenance side. Very little on the admin piece of that. And then we also looked at, the Park Board have proposed moving forward of creating 4 additional new employees as well in our budget. One, we were able to look at a reclass of existing position, which would be an inclusion specialist, and that's a part of our priorities as well. We have a great therapeutic recreation program, but we want to be able to expand that division wide as well. And we want to look at those volunteer opportunities. We want to look at those grant opportunities that go along with these type of programs. So having an employee and a staff member that focuses on this 24/7 is a high need for us. The other is the irrigation specialist that is going to focus on water conservation and projects, a part of our 2022 plan. The other is a park caretaker that will assist as well. And then also a recreation aide. We're seeing a very big uptick in our athletic programs and allocations for our fields, which is great to see. And we just want to be able to support that on the staff side. And then also creating a Park 4 person at one of our facilities to provide more leadership in that area, then also be able to expand some of our urban forestry specialties across the system wide, put more focus on the maintenance of park and street trees. And so being able to spread out some of those resources as well. And also too, we're looking at, improving efficiencies through centralized maintenance. When I first got here, we had a lot of segmented maintenance groups, and putting that under one umbrella and giving that support will add to those efficiencies. We have a lot of deferred maintenance in our system, and we're really focusing on how do we beef up our capital around projects, our fleet lease program, which has been a huge success for us. We're going out of the business of owning vehicles, and we're actually leasing small duty vehicles, and which is light duty vehicles. So that's a great program for us that's been working well, and also around our equipment. And for us too, it's been difficult to, I love being on a mower, but hopefully we can get to a place next year where we're sitting better, is getting back to our routine historical levels and actually taking it a little bit step further around. It's just the little things that make the huge difference. It's the frequency of mowing, making sure our restrooms are operable and open, and just trimming and around, the curb lines, just the little details that make a huge difference. Growing our equipment fund, and this is one of our reserve funds that we plan on growing around our equipment and replacement program. One piece too that we don't want to lose momentum on is to continue to build those great partnerships and then foster that involvement and ownership in our parks. That was a huge success for us during the pandemic 2020 and this year, so we want to continue on that. And a part of our staffing proposal too is to strengthen our succession planning and strategy with our employees, give them the opportunities and build the morale, build the leadership with the employees that we have, and give our staff the opportunity to grow within our organization. We want our employees that come to Parks and Recreation to stay in Parks and Recreation, so that's another big priority for us. And also lastly, that would be supporting and the new position is expand on our inclusion and adaptive programming across the entire system. And then you'll see on the right, of course, what's going to drive a lot of our future priorities is the master plan that we're working on right now. Next slide, please. All right, so to talk about some of our, what I call the highest risk, but also the highest and opportunity projects, and I have 4 of them today. And you'll see in the mayor's proposed budget, we had some bonds that were refinanced during 2020 that hit the general fund. So we see this one-time general fund growth that's not at historical levels. So our park board did not approve a budget that included this additional 1.7 million. They adopted a budget that included that historical growth because we want to make sure we maintain our operations to those historical levels. But I'm just going to highlight on a couple of what we feel are the highest strategic projects. The first one, and these go into priority order, is the Don Cardon Bridge. So this is a huge major pedestrian connection on the Centennial Trail between Gonzaga and the University District. The great thing about this project is we received grant funding. We have $800,000 in the bank with support from the Friends of Centennial Trail and also the state. We've performed the outreach, the design, the bid documents, the permitting. It's ready to go out to bid. And this would be a complete redeck project, putting new rails on it. You can see in the pictures, you have the before on the top and then a couple renderings of the proposed after. And it's bringing some of those overlooks to at grade to create a more accessible experience, added lighting for safety. And so this would be a project that would be proposed for 2022 construction, utilizing that extra 1.7, because right now we're looking at a local match here for us at 1.4. And I think it's important to note our annual capital budget for Parks and Recreation is at $1 million. So taking some of these high risk projects off our plate give us the flexibility to really be flexible with the community on the needs of planning for additional parks or design of additional parks or addressing playgrounds or some of those smaller items when we get these large risk projects out of the way. Next slide, please. Next one is the Riverfront Park South Suspension Bridge. There's a photo of the South Suspension Bridge on the right on the top, and then the North Suspension Bridge under construction on the bottom. Essentially, there's a ton of efficiencies here. Vista stepped up to the plate and paid for all the design of this project. We have the bid documents ready to go on the South Suspension Bridge along with the temporary power. So a lot of the citizens don't know that one of the major backbones of the power distribution between downtown and North Spokane go under these 2 suspension bridges. So if you look out there today, we have actually power poles that go across the river that are taking that power to the north bank. And so we've also learned a lot from our North Suspension Bridge project. And even though we don't have funding for it now, this is a high risk because it still has risk similar to the North Suspension Bridge of that decking failing at some point. And so we want to be able to address that in the future. And that one has a price tag around $2.4 million. Next slide, please. So great minds think alike. So Lori, this is one of these projects. When we look around water conservation, focusing on our manual irrigation systems, this is at Canyon Hill Park that would be a pond renovation and irrigation upgrade. And right now our estimated cost is around 1.3 million. And so this would do 2 great things for us. One is automating the entire system, which is going to have a lot of water savings. And then strategically looking at those areas that are currently maintained to turf, green turf, and looking at a more native setting to save on water. The big one is around the pond. We do distribute water in that pond 24/7 to keep it at the level that it is today. And this project, we've done studies and planning on this particular piece, and our estimates right now, it would save 20 to 30 million gallons of water a year at this site alone. And then a part of the pond project as well, we would be introducing more of a wetland type planting as well and a filtration system, because we need to come in, drain the pond, put a liner in that pond, and then create wetland shelving around the pond to create a filtration system to be able to maintain that kind of current look and level of water quality that you see today. Next slide, please, sorry. Lastly, on our top 4 list is at Coeur d'Alene Park. Here's another project that there's a lot of momentum around. We performed a master plan with this neighborhood previously, and this would be a 2-part project. This is another one of our manual irrigated systems, so it'd be upgrading it all to an automated irrigation system, along with upgrading the lighting in this park. We've been meeting with the neighborhood now for the past year about safety concerns, and this rose to a high priority project with a combination of being able to automate irrigation, which gives you the flexibility now that you can water during the night, and then also upgrading the lighting that follows the master plan. This would be another one of our high priority projects that currently we don't have funding for, but still fits in with one of those, the higher risk, great opportunity type strategic one-time investments. So with that, that's all I have. And if there's any questions for me.
I have a question. It's maybe more for finance than you. You kind of alluded to it, but your park budget gets set at, if I understand it, 8% of general fund expenditures from 2 years previously. And my understanding is that when we refinanced some bonds, it got attributed in the 2020 budget. Well, I shouldn't say budget, but financial statement as tens of millions of dollars of general fund expenditures, even though it was just a refinance. And so that sounds like increased the park allocation by 1.7 million. My understanding is that perhaps that was an incorrect allocation. So I'm looking to Paul or Tanya as to, was that a correct allocation? And if so, can we get that figured out? Because that's under the theory of keeping things as flexible as possible. That's 1.7 million we'd have in the general fund, which doesn't take away from the need to figure out a strategy for the bridge. So I'm not attacking that, but I'm just wondering if someone in finance can update us on that.
Yeah, unmute me. Oh, well, thank you, council member. Yes, in 2020, towards the end of the fiscal year, you might have recalled that we did a lot of refinancing to save on interest when interest rates dropped. One of the refinancing that we did was a bond series, a little more than $21 million. And they were unlimited general obligation bonds. Certainly at the time, it was not envisioned that having that flow through the general fund, and it was just an in and an out. The expense is when we pay off all those other bonds, just like when you refinance your mortgage, you pay off your old mortgage and you put on a new loan. So it was not envisioned that this would impact the park's formula by charter that requires the 8% calculation. But then upon closer look and review this year when we were putting this budget together, it does appear in the charter, it does not exempt that type of expense that is just an in and an out type of expense. So unfortunately, this is per charter, something that we need to pay to parks.
I guess my question is, was there a choice of which fund to allocate that expense to in 2020 other than the general fund? That's my question. If we'd been aware of it, could we have done that differently?
We may have done it differently had we been aware of this. That was not the intent. It was just, they were unobligated, unlimited general obligation bonds. So that was just run through the general fund, not realizing that this was going to have the impact.
I guess my question is, what were the other options? I mean, I get that we didn't anticipate it, obviously, but if we were doing it again today, what would be our option to not run it through the general fund? What would be that fund that we could run it through that wouldn't create that unintended consequence?
My recommendation would be to have a debt service fund that these would run through.
And is there any way, since I don't know that we've been audited on 2020, that we could correct that even for going back to 2020. Is there any way to do that within accounting practices or state law, whatever the parameters are?
The audit for 2020 is actually closed and they're ready to do their exit.
And if they've, but is there, I guess, but my question still is there a way to correct that at this point in time under existing law?
We could certainly talk with the auditors. It would cause some disruption because it's not technically a correction. It was booked correctly. We could have used a debt service fund if we had an eligible fund that we could have run that through, and that certainly would have been my recommendation had we been fully aware of this consequence. The truth is we were viewing it as very similar to like depreciation, which doesn't run through the general fund, but a lot of those non-cash transactions aren't typically counted for the same way as this. So that's why it just ran through the general fund. The general fund pays a lot. We transfer a lot out to pay on debt service. So that was just how it was booked.
Well, I'd appreciate it if you would talk with the auditors about it, just because we've got a lot of asks and demands on the general fund, and we have other options for funding parks capital. I appreciate the park board's prudence and not budgeting it as operations, just budgeting it as one-time capital expenses. But we do have some other funds on that. But we are limited on our general fund, and there's a lot of asks in this proposal from the mayor's office. So just appreciate if you talk with them and get back to us on whether or not we can create that flexibility. Thanks.
So moving on, this particular ask of parks, or this proposal, is under on American Rescue, and I'm just going to cover these very quickly. Fully understand that this is going to go through a different path, but those park deferred investments, the proposal would be to use ARP funding. And same with emergency shelter that the mayor touched on in her presentation. And then the rest of these proposals are revenue replacement category. Certainly the general fund replacement to address essential and backlogged issues. The pandemic started in 2020, and that is what we're all aware of, but we've been continuing to work under those conditions with limited resources because of the depressed revenue that we have had. It's certainly parking fund revenue replacement to address fund solvency. It is to that point now in 2022 when we're 3 years into the pandemic. So just quickly going forward.
Tanya, could you go back, please?
Yes.
Under emergency shelter, can we not use criminal justice funds for that?
Yes, we've talked a little bit about that. We can use some criminal justice funds, but not all of them. There's only about 60%, and I will be preparing a written memo to send to all of you. So it's about 3.7 million of it that could be used for homelessness. And it would require us to dip into the reserves of that fund to fund the other costs, such as our detention services.
I think that should be something we should consider. So I would love to have that on the table so that council could consider that.
Okay. So yes, here is the emergency shelter. You can see that the mayor had proposed 1.5 million. And this would also could not possibly come from the revenue diversion or the revenue replacement. It could come from direct support of the pandemic. Although the vision is that this would stay much longer term. So you can see the operating costs, however, are 2.8 million for 24/7 operation. The mayor touched a little bit on some of the funding that could be used. We could get further grants, that is certainly an option. It's not secured, but it is an option and would certainly be the first choice to apply for more grant funding. Private contributions. The mayor also talked about private contributions, and there is a lot of interest in this type of facility. And then, of course, the proposal as the backstop is local affordable housing sales tax. And we totally understand where the city council sits on that. But at this point, those are the three options, most viable options for operating this shelter. So
Tanya?
looking, yes.
I'm so sorry. You might be getting to it, so I'll watch the slide, then I'll wait. Go ahead.
Okay, so looking at the revenue placement, I just wanted to remind us all, just in 2020, 1 year alone, based on the federal formula, the general revenue loss of all our funds, excluding utilities, was 21.6 million. As we progress, 21 through 24, general revenue loss is still to be determined. But overall, it could exceed $40 million. Just the general fund, and we did provide this in the workbook, is estimated to have revenue losses over the past 3 years of nearly $20 million, which is why you're seeing a lot of these proposals coming forward. But how we address that, how to counter these losses, because we did not have ARP to recover revenue losses. We could not use our CARES dollars to recover these revenue losses. But we contained our costs to the extent possible. And so a lot of departments gave up training, they gave up supplies, they gave up professional service contracts. They held a lot of those costs at bay. We also had limited or delayed hiring of positions. It's no different than our households. If those paychecks stop coming into the checkbook, we have to start cutting costs and deferring expenses. And that's exactly what we did at the city through 2020. Certainly in 2021, hiring, we started to increase our hiring again. We had a new budget. It was new set. And then I want to remind the council, we did use reserves. They were used in 2020, more than 6 million in reserves. And then we had a budget when we started 2021 in anticipation of $1 million of general fund reserves. So very quickly, some of the proposals. The American Disabilities Act Plan update. This is a one-time cost. We do need to update the plan. So this is just reinforces our equal opportunity and provide people the ability to participate. So this is just the plan update. It's not implementation. Enhanced public meetings. We've heard that we are now going to have both virtual and in person when we move a little forward into the future. So this is really to enhance that technology so it's a better interaction with the public. And then assess public safety records software. This is $350,000 to assess the initial needs and the tools for the criminal justice services. So this impacts police, our legal system, our municipal court system, through the entire criminal justice system. The next step after an assessment is done to determine what is a better, more efficient product would be to possibly invest in those new tools. That could be upwards of 1.3 million to even 1.6 million. That would be funded from the Criminal Justice Assistance Fund. Again, from those reserves that we have there. Replace public safety equipment. This is the really big one, council. So I am going to take probably an additional 5 minutes or so to just cover that. Again, we can have more opportunity to talk about this. We know that these are going to go through a different process for consideration, but we did want to have it as context with the entire budget. So go to the next slide, please, and let me just cover public safety very quickly. You can see here, here's the full spectrum from 2014 when the program was initiated through 2027, which is the funding period, the 5-year CIP. You see the two different colors on this chart. There, so far, you only see the two colors. The third color there is for one-time contributions, which we have not made any one-time contributions into the program. But we have had SIP proceeds and then general fund transfers. Those are your two. And you can see it reaches, in 2020, it reached almost $10 million. Down at the bottom, you can see, or 12 million, I apologize, because that includes the cumulative fund balance down there at the bottom. So those are your two funding sources. We did not bring forward a SIP in 2021. Based on the conversation that took place, we did not believe that that was going to be a supported option, bringing that forward to the city council. Therefore, there were no SIP proceeds for revenue to support the asks of our police and fire departments. So going forward. Now, when you look at this slide, here's the expense side of the income statement. And you have three colors here. You have your police capital, you have your fire capital, and then your annual debt service. The little gray line that you see going across there represents the funding level that you saw on the previous slide. So when you see years 2014 through 2021, you see this tiny little funding that was a little bit higher than all the expenses. That is how we built up that fund balance. And then we used it in 2021 because there were no SIP proceeds. So that fund balance replaced SIP proceeds, but not entirely. But what has actually happened with this since 2024 is that the need, the equipment need, exceeded, and that's not graphed here, but the equipment need exceeded the ability to fund. Fire has reported, and they've got aged equipment clear back to the early 2000s. A lot of their equipment is nearly 20 years old. It has far exceeded its life. We also shared with you about a year ago the status of the police equipment and its rolling stock as well. The mayor shared with me, and I hope she doesn't mind me sharing with all of you, when she did a ride-along, it was in a Crown Vic. A lot of our police vehicles, at this point, if we were to replace them by policy, we would need to replace over 65 of our police vehicles. But their vehicles are not the only piece of equipment that they have. They have many, many other equipment, bomb robots, forensic equipment, many other pieces of equipment and capital needs as well. So those needs are not represented here because we capped it based on the funding that was available. So what we have in 2022 is a bubble. All of that pent up demand, all that pent up need of equipment is now hitting us, and it will just continue. It's just a matter of if we're going to continue kicking the can down the road or really find a solution to get over this hump. And that is what the mayor is proposing, is that for future resiliency, we need to fight this and get through this hump here and reset a strategy for police and fire equipment.
Just, Tanya, can you go back to that slide?
You bet.
So the plan in 2021, before we got the mayor's proposal and we accepted it, was we would have added $1.2 million of the general fund transfer, which would have bumped up that line. And then in 2022, we would have taken all that general fund transfer across and then added another 1.2. And so that line would look very different if we continued the plan that we had. And it might be a little bit of a bubble in 2022, but it seems like if we continued that addition of the 1% and then the match by 2023, we would be fine and actually could start going forward reducing. So I just want to call that out to council, is that we did have a plan that would lead to sustainability. And then last year we, at the mayor's request, we departed from that plan. And if I understand, in this budget proposal, we're still departed from that plan. So now we're down $2.4 million that would otherwise be available.
So let me make a couple points. So you can see in 2022, that red circle down there, a deficit of nearly 9.3 million. So adding 1.2 million from the general fund would not address this bubble. It would actually take probably 5 years to address the bubble, and the bubble would continue to grow, but it would take about 5 years to actually do it. We would also then have to cut or reallocate the 1.2 million from the general fund. And so I just want to remind the council that besides the proposals that you've all heard, there was an excess of only about 2.1 million. We could put 1.2 million of that towards this, and then that would only leave about 1 million to address all the other proposals that you have. As a reminder for the council too, when you're making all of your considerations for decisions, there is still employee compensation, which is our largest cost, that is not addressed in this because we are in the middle of negotiations and do not know what that full impact is going to look like.
So I just want to, I agree that it would take some time to do it, but it would have been an extra $1.2 million that would subtract from that from last year. And then this year it would be 2.4. So between the two, it'd be 3.6. And then the following year, it would be all of those numbers plus the 3.6. So it again, we departed from we had a plan for sustainability and we departed from it. And so that's all I'm raising is, and I continue to think we should get back on the plan to make it sustainable. But we had a plan and we departed from it. So that's.
I think, and if I can, and with all due respect, the other side of that plan was, it was not identified as to where we would take that funding from. What expense in the general fund were we going to cut to make that happen? So that is the other side of the equation.
Yeah, no, we deployed it for other purposes, but I'm just saying the original plan would have led to sustainability on police and fire capital. And then we, at the mayor's request, we made different priority choices last year, and that's fine. We do that every year, and we have to do that every year. But I just want to be clear that it was a sustainable plan on that, and then we had to make hard choices.
Tanya, I guess my confusion is, and maybe you were touching on this, but if police and fire capital comes out of the general fund and the 1% goes into the general fund, whether or not you tie the 1% to police and fire capital doesn't really make a difference. I mean, the point is, if you're prioritizing those, it's still the same money. And I really just don't think that something that's as important as this, that's such a priority as it should be, is something that we should be tying to a specific tax increase each year. I mean, I think it should just live on its own merits.
I concur with that. It really is optics. The 1% all goes into the general fund. The match comes from the general fund. It's just general fund revenue. And it, bottom line, when it comes out, it's the general fund transfer into this other fund for equipment. So some of the other options, proposals for you, certainly bridge funding for fire dispatch. This is a particular cost that has escalated considerably since 2020. You can see here costs in 2022 are 75% or 1.2 million more than in 2020 actuals. If the city has had a historical target of trying to contain costs to only a little less than 3%, and this far exceeds that. Comparison, police dispatch costs for 2022 are a mere 11,000 more, or less than 1% compared to the 2020 actuals. So for a long-term, financially sustainable fire dispatch program, affordable options need to be considered or it is really just funding, again, very similar to public safety, a discussion of what other costs are we going to reduce in the general fund, because that revenue is somewhat limited in its growth, and yet we're not containing these costs to that limit. So
Hey,
it's
Tanya.
definitely more strategies, discussions ahead.
This is Karen. Just a quick question on the fire dispatch. You're talking the Spokane fire side. You're not talking Shrek, correct?
I'm not talking Shrek. This is just fire Spokane City Fire, not Shrek.
But how are you factoring in the change in the law that says that the city is now entitled to a share of the 1/10 sales tax? And we just have to negotiate that with the county, and if we don't, we go to court and we get an award date that dates back to when the legislation changed. I know you probably can't put it in the 22 budget because you don't know, but what are the efforts that are going on to make that a reality, that we get that revenue sharing that our taxpayers are paying?
I think, council member, that would actually be a very good discussion for a later date so that we can go into that in much more detail. There are a lot of factors going on with that. And so I think it deserves more time than what we have today.
Tanya, it's Lori, and that 995, does that include overtime?
It's the total, the 995 is really just a somewhat round number of other options versus what was submitted for the budget. So yes, that budget does include overtime.
And, okay, because I guess my concern is fire generally has so much overtime, including fire dispatch. Again, this is probably a conversation for another time too, but we somehow have to account for that and make it accurate. And so far, the whole time I've been here, we've never had any kind of accurate accounting about overtime. They budget for it and then just break the bank when it comes to overtime. So I think we need to have a longer conversation about that.
You're exactly right, council member. Enhanced.
Tanya, I have another question on fire dispatch.
You bet.
So last year we funded some of the additional positions that we had to fund out of the public safety levy. In this budget, are those positions still being funded out of the public safety levy?
No, sir.
Okay, so that's what part of this 995 is, that it's not coming out of the public safety levy anymore.
Correct.
Okay. And is there a reason why we're not funding those positions out of the public safety levy anymore?
I believe, at least our understanding, it was for firefighters. And since firefighters were temporarily filling those dispatch positions, that was the reason why the public safety was being used, was because it was really for the firefighters.
Yeah, no, it's just for.
But we're double checking on that.
It's fire personnel. It didn't distinguish between whether they're firefighters or dispatchers. So.
We'll
now that
check
we're
on
down,
that, Council President.
Yeah, because we're down so many firefighters now that we're not going to be able to get enough hired to reach those levy numbers for firefighters. So that's another way to pay for the dispatch, at least for 2022.
It is another way. Certainly at the time this budget was put together, there were a few unknowns that have transpired since then.
Yep.
So you're spot on. The enhanced cleanup efforts.
Tanya?
Yes.
On that note, just a quick question on the overtime that Councilwoman Kinnear is asking about. So when this budget was put together, I guess, and you just maybe touched on it, but did we take into account probably the significant amount of overtime that fire is going to be taking on next year as a result of losing, so many firefighters recently?
Great question, council member. And no, we did not, because we were unaware of what that would look like. A lot of these line item budgets were actually prepared in August. And then we were working with the administration on proposals. What are the priorities through September? And then you all received it October 4th. There's been a lot of events that have happened since then. So I do imagine that there may be some updates and some reanalysis that gets done post those activities.
Do we
But
have
also,
any? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, with a lot of layoffs, that does also create salary savings. And that may be the primary source for the additional overtime.
Gotcha. No, I guess that makes sense. And I'm just wondering if there's been any estimates put together on, yeah, what that delta might be between the savings of personnel versus the amount of added overtime. There's a lot of back and forth, obviously, in the bargaining, and so there's been a lot of time, I guess, to sort of think about what the impacts of the loss of so many firefighters was going to be. So do we know what that delta is?
Not yet, council member. Like you said, there have been a lot of events around that. But we will be looking at that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could tag on to Councilmember Cathcart, it's not just the financial finance piece of overtime, but the piece it takes on the toll it takes on the employees who are working overtime in such a high stress and truly dangerous job. So that has to be considered as well.
Exactly. So we just have two more bullets. Go ahead and bring up the other one. Certainly the enhanced cleanup efforts, and you heard Chris talk about those earlier today. This is the portion that solid waste would normally fund. Again, you heard from Marlene about what was happening with the accounts there, and there needs to be, this is just to phase this in so that can be absorbed. And then the parking meter fund. If you look on page 41, you can see that ending fund balance is estimated to have a deficit of about a little more than 470,000. So the ask is really for 600,000, just to provide a little bit of that cash flow cushion. And this is to keep that fund solvent. So moving on. Woo! We're right up there to a minute. So we have been listening, council, to your questions. We're writing them down. We're going to give you written response. We will submit those just as soon as we can. Certainly the target is to have those submitted to you Monday so that we can follow up with you. We are asking for any of your direction by the close of business Tuesday. And so if I go to the next slide, you can see that we start the public hearing on the revenue. November 1 is when the 2022 proposed budget is filed with the clerk. And that is why we would ask for any changes. You've given us a lot of great feedback, and the mayor may make some changes to the preliminary budget. But it really does take a lot of time to run all of these changes into the system. And again, council, these were proposals. They are not embedded in the line items yet. So we will be reviewing with the mayor on what she is going to propose into the final proposed budget that will be filed. So we ask if you have any comments, any direction that you'd like to provide, that we receive that by the close of business Tuesday, so that we can take a couple days, run them into the system, and then all of these reports that you've had in your workbook, those are manual reports. So we have to redo all of those and to complete all of the work that we need to do to meet that November 1st deadline. November 8th will be the closing of the hearing on the property tax revenue, and the ordinance would be presented to you at that time for adoption. November 8th is also when the preliminary public hearing opens on the 2022 proposed budget that has been filed. November 30th, we certify property tax levy. December 6th will be the final public hearing on 2022 proposed budget and adoption. And then, of course, you all know December 13th is your last meeting for the year. Council, I do want to just personally thank you, and I'll probably do it on behalf of the mayor as well, for the immense amount of time that you've invested in these workshops. This was a long process, a different process, and it did start back in March with CIP. In April, there was a schedule presented to you outlining the process. In June, we had an economic forum. In August, you had a trial budget for the general fund. You had a 5-year forecast, and that all assumed no changes. That all assumed a different kind of revenue path than what we've seen of late. So the preliminary budget that you received on October 4th highlighted some of those changes in our revenue projections, and also a lot of the proposals that you've seen came out of us listening to you over the past several months, as well as carrying on from 2020. There were resolutions that have been passed, such as the affordable housing incentives. I think Councilmember Kinnear, you led the charge on that. There was also ordinance on homelessness and sheltering. And then just recently, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we have been listening, Council, to what we believe to be your priorities and have aligned them with the mayor's priorities. I understand we've heard a lot of great discussion about the funding sources. So I definitely appreciate and thank all the time that you have put in, these over 8 hours of time. And I want to thank everybody that has proposed and presented information to you. Council.
Tanya, Betsy here. So I'm just struggling because you have mentioned the loss, and I have not heard in these presentation where the administration have made cuts to accommodate this lost revenue. I have only seen, just me, I have only seen in the requests for additions to the staff for service, which I support that. But could you at some point tell us, without any of this ARPA funding or anything else, really what's the bare bones that we have to work with, and what cuts did the mayor make in this budget to make it sustainable? That's what I really need to know.
Okay.
Tanya,
So-
I have a quick question. You mentioned kind of in passing that we're going to have a significant budgetary obligation in 2022 once the collective bargaining agreements are reached. And that's not included in the budget. There's not extra money for reserves for that. And I'm just wondering, what's the high level strategy from a budgeting standpoint? How much money should we be setting aside to deal with whatever we don't know the amount, but if we don't set aside the money now or have identified cuts that we would do in the middle of the year next year, it's going to be hard to meet those contractual obligations. So I'm just wondering what the high level strategy is on that the mayor is proposing.
Really, council member, that we've got several labor agreements under negotiation right now. And they're spread across all the funds. So this involves a lot of analysis of the impact to those funds. We will be taking into account vacancies and the impact of those vacancies. So there's still some capacity to address what might be proposed for the labor agreements. But most importantly, council, we need to have an executive session with you to talk about some of those strategies. And that would include some of the funding strategies involved with that.
Well, I guess my suggestion is we have that sooner rather than later, because we're going to need to take whatever budget the mayor proposes November 1st, and we're going to have to modify it to reach several goals, including addressing that. So let's get that on the calendar. And I also, just where Councilmember Cathcart goes, I want to also express my appreciation to all the presenters. And I think it's fair to say, of listening to the presentations, that it was only after we've heard from actual people and answered questions in real time that we really understand many of these proposals. And so I really appreciate that. As a I think obviously Tuesday is not very realistic for getting good feedback. Certainly not from the council as a whole. We have to do, if we pass our resolution or council priorities, we have to do that within a public meeting process, and we're not going to be able to do that. I will try to get you my own individual comments, and I'm sure people will do that. But since we started this process a month later than normal, in terms of what the proposals were, I don't think realistically we're going to be able to give you the will of council before November 1st, but that's fine. We had a good negotiation last year after November 1st, and we'll get it figured out. I would just request, and you've heard it before, that the ARPA proposals not be included in the budget, so that you figure out how to pay for anything that's important there. And then secondly, that the mayor prioritize as best she and her team can of all those requests, great requests for services. I don't think there's any doubt that it would be great with sufficient resources to do them, but that they just be prioritized and that we have a balanced budget plus sufficient reserves to cover the labor costs coming up. So I'll let Councilmember Cathcart go, and then Councilmember Munn.
Well, I guess for me, I'm wondering if there is a thought by council that we're not going to fund some of this ARPA dollars to backfill. Maybe we should make a determination on that sooner rather than later, so that the mayor and her team understand, to what extent we do plan to backfill some of these costs, and before we go and start cutting and eliminating. And I mean, it's going to be a pretty deep cuts if we don't backfill some of this stuff. So I think maybe council needs to take a vote on whether or not we are going to backfill to help inform the mayor on that. And I think that would be kind of a prudent thing for us to consider.
I echo what Council President said. We need to see the priorities because of the short time frame. And I just want to say this because I know a lot of work has gone into this by your staff, Tanya, and by all the directors of the departments. We met the legal definition of the timeline according to state law, and we are meeting those, and council will pass, and I fully expect we'll pass the budget by the end of the year. But this short time frame is kind of setting us all up to fail. To have a response back to you by Tuesday, especially even on the capital side. I mean, it's just probably not going to be as good of a job as we would normally do. We've got pandemic and heat waves and all kinds of things. We'll do our best, but maybe we need to talk about some of these proposals in a sit-down session with a strategic plan next year, as we have done in the past, and maybe have a 2-year outlook, and certainly check the revenues as those come in. But we will do our best. I agree that ARPA should probably be out of it for right now to depend on it. Not saying that we couldn't go to ARPA sometime in the middle of the year. So I guess I don't want to say no to no ARPA, but just not yet. Thank you.
Any other comments, council?
Councilmember Kinnear.
Thank you. And I'm chiming in, not to elongate this meeting, but to thank you, Tanya, and your staff and all the folks who contributed to this. It was a lot of work, as everyone has said. I also want to thank our staff as well, because they've been, both Tim and Matt have been in there guiding us and advising us and helping us as well. And I would echo that I would like to see the ARPA funds separated out from the budget so that we can make a determination on their own merit of where we should backfill. And I've always said that the ARPA funds, first and foremost, should be used to plug the holes in our losses, just not as part of the budget. So it's not saying that we're not going to make the city whole. It's just saying let's do it in the separately. And so in that regard, I agree with Council President. And again, this is a short time frame. So unless we decided to have no meetings on Monday and just work on this, I'm not sure how it would be finished by Tuesday. I don't think it's physically possible. So we need more time than that. So I think we should consider giving us more time so that we can do a good job.
I hear that, City Council. We did give the preliminary, we gave a trial actually in August, and we did give a preliminary October 4th. November 1 is the statutory required time to file it with the clerk. And while we will have a better tool next year, oh, baby. It will take about 2 days just to load all of this into the system and then rerun all of the reports.
Yeah, no, we understand that you weren't able to get us these proposals in the 1st of September like it usually happens. And we understand you have to do a budget on November 1st. So we're not,
okay.
We're really just saying is that we will have a lot more feedback for you. That is all that we're saying. We're just saying that we will have more feedback for you and to these specific proposals and priorities and things like that. That's all that we're saying. You have to do the budget. There's no question about that. Councilmember Mom.
I just want to also remind all of us, the public has a big piece of this. And we are now going to the public with our hearings to have feedback from them. And especially what we've been through in the last 2 years, we need to hear from them on how they feel about what the mayor's proposing, what the council's going to propose. And so there's going to be a lot of dynamic. This is not sewed up by any means. And I think we're going to have to prepare for a lot of changes that may not even come from council. They may be ideas from the public. So I just wanted to remind us all of that.
And if I could just say something too, Council President Beggs, as far as, you wanting to see my priorities or on these proposals. And thank you. I'm glad you appreciate the amount of work that our cabinet put into these presentations. But we had many, many hours of meetings where they proposed their plans for their divisions, their working plans for 2022. And there were a lot of asks, and there was a long list of things that they wanted to be able to bring as far as services to the city and to our community. So we looked at all those asks, and what you're seeing in this 2022 proposed budget are the priorities from all of those asks. So that's what we presented to you in the last 8 hours are my proposals, but they are the prioritized asks of all of our division leaders. So what you are seeing are the priorities to date. And as far as Council Member Wilkerson's question about where are the cuts, we don't want to have to make cuts if we don't have to. That's what the ARPA funds are for. We want to make our city whole again. And we don't want to, if we don't have to, propose cuts because we have the ability to bridge some of those needs with the ARPA funds. And so that's why you don't see that in here.
All right. Well, we're way over time, everyone. It's been a great conversation. And I appreciate, Mayor, you addressing us, including your last comments and bringing your team and everybody who's been involved. Again, lots of staff across the city, both in council and administration. And I think the good news is everyone's fully engaged. And as to Councilmember Mum's point, we're now teed up to really hear from the public of what their priorities are and what they want to see in terms of our general funds, in terms of our tax revenues, and in terms of ARPA, because that money is for the entire community and we, the city, are the stewards from it. So we're going to get all that info. And I keep telling my staff that I feel like we're farther ahead than we were last year in this process, and certainly farther ahead than previous years. So as much as the sands of time are ticking. We're being more effective, I think, than at any time in my 5 years. So I appreciate all that, and we'll get to a good result. So with that, the City Council special meeting is adjourned. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see many of you on Monday.